and with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. And I fell on my face, and my whole body became relaxed, and my spirit was transfigured. And I cried with a loud voice in the spirit of power, and blessed and glorified and extolled. And these blessings which went forth out of my mouth were well-pleasing before the head of days. And that head of days came with Michael and Gabriel, Raphael and Phanuel, thousands and 10,000s of angels without number. Lost passage, this is a note, there's a lost passage here, wherein the Son of Man was described as accompanying the head of days. And Enoch asked one of the angels concerning the Son of Man as to who he was. We go to verse 14. And he, the angel, came to me and greeted me with his voice and said unto me, This is the Son of Man, who is born unto righteousness. And righteousness abides over him, and the righteousness of the head of days forsakes him not. And he said unto me, He proclaims unto thee peace in the name of the world to come. From far from hence has proceeded peace since the creation of the world, and so shall it be unto thee forever and ever and ever. And here he talks about the Son of Man. Even when Enoch walked the earth, Yahushua had already been appointed to be the one who would come to earth and redeem mankind from the sin of the Garden of Eden. And so anyone who ever tries to take away Yahushua's death on the cross, and because they're going to do this, I've seen it in the codes, they're mocking the crucifixion, they're calling it an allegory, they're going to be calling it a story that it never happened, it was just an allegory, something, a story of early man. Folks, he was appointed back when Enoch was alive. Yahushua was appointed that he would come and redeem mankind, and his name, Enoch always referred to him as the Son of Man. And something interesting I thought I would throw in here as well. The location of heaven itself found this very interesting, because we know that the throne room of the Father is located within the Son. We know that his people, his archangels and his angels, tens of thousands of them, are with him. So I found it interesting that Enoch details a description of a place. I want to read it here in Enoch chapter 70. And it came to pass after this that his name during his lifetime was raised aloft to that Son of Man, to Lord of spirits from amongst those who dwell on the earth. And he was raised aloft on the chariot of the Spirit, and his name vanished among them. It's referring to Enoch. And from that day I was no longer numbered amongst them. And he set me between the two winds, between the north and the west, where the angels took the cords to measure for me the place for the elect and righteous. And there I saw the first fathers and the righteous who from the beginning dwell in that place. And so he was taken between the north and the west. So somewhere northwest there is a place where our forefathers are, where those who die and go to heaven are located. I thought that was interesting. In another place, in chapter 77 of Enoch, he's talking about the four quarters of basically the universe being divided up. I'm just going to jump on this part. And the first quarter is called the east, because the first and the second, the south, because the Most High will descend there. Yea, there in quite a special sense, he who is blessed forever descend. So the Most High himself is going to descend from the south. I thought that was interesting. And the west quarter is named the diminished, because there are all the luminaries of the heaven wane and go down. And the fourth quarter, named the north, is divided into three parts. The first part of them is for the dwelling of men, and the second contains seas of water, and the abysses and forests and rivers, and darkness and clouds, and the third part contains the garden of righteousness. There seems to be a lot of things going on with the northern part of our universe. If you just look north, there's a heavenly habitation in the northwest for the Lord's people, where Enoch had said that he saw the forefathers, even before him, which there weren't that many. Also, the garden of righteousness is there. It says the Most High, the head of days, will descend from the south. And that was interesting, because I've never heard anybody talk about the south, and yet I've talked about a vision I had a couple of years ago where I saw this planet, or whatever it was, coming up from the south and then turning east. And it looked like I was looking at a map almost. I could see Florida and this big planet coming up upon Florida, and then turning east and heading east, and very quickly. And so I never understood what that vision was. I have no idea. But I'll never forget it either. It's one of those things where If the Lord shows you something, and this is back when I was still very not used to getting visions, I would get them not know what to do with them. Ask Him right away what they mean. That's one thing I didn't pick up very quickly back then. Is that the Lord teaches you something or He shows you something in a vision, ask Him right away what it means. Because if you wait and wait and wait, you may not get an answer. So just ask Him what it is. What does it mean? And if it's a vision from the Lord, it's something that I've learned is that I get them repeatedly. I don't get it just one time and then it ends. I'll get them repeatedly. Within the same, couple minutes, I'll get the same ones. Another chapter I wanted to read in Enoch, I'm going to talk about this next week as well, on chapter 58, and it kind of coincides with Revelation chapter 22. And I began to speak the third parable concerning the righteous and elect. Blessed are ye, ye righteous and elect, for glorious shall be your lot. And the righteous shall be in the light of the sun, and the elect in the light of eternal life. The days of their life shall be unending, as the days of the holy without number. And they shall seek the light and find righteousness with the Lord of spirits. There shall be peace to the righteous in the name of the eternal Lord. And after this shall be said to the holy in heaven, that they should seek out the secrets of righteousness, the heritage of faith, for it has become bright as the sun upon earth, and the darkness is past. And I find this is interesting because even those in heaven, considered holy in heaven, it's given to them to seek out the secrets of righteousness, the mysteries of God, in other words. Truth-seeking never ends. We're always supposed to be seeking the truth from the Lord and ask Him to reveal His mysteries to us. And I do that all the time, and I'll tell you what, it'll blow you away. Because when it hits your spirit, and it's, that's where it is, that's what's going on, that's what this is, that's what that is, you know that you know what you know from the Most High Himself. And so that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. A couple other things. And you can read Revelation 20, 21, and 22. We'll talk about those next week. I find it interesting that a lot of these secret societies, the real society and fool societies who worship the black sun in mockery of the sun that we have. I think I told mentioned last week how they have the black mask to mimic the mass that the Catholic Church has, and the mass itself is nothing but a heretical and blasphemous practice that the Catholics do. It's not communion as the Lord instructed it. It's a total mockery of what He said, and then they even go further and mock it a second time with the black mask that the Satans have. And so a lot of this really just tying in what I've been seeing in the Bible codes in relation to terms I've always seen and not knowing what to do with it, not understanding what I'm seeing. And then when He reveals what I'm seeing, it's quite revelational. And I find it interesting that there's so much differences and changes from the Old Testament to the New. You almost see them immediately try to block out information just in the way they translate terms. And so I always take the New Testament with a grain of salt. I know the message is accurate. I know His apostles are accurate. But everything else, including the way they describe things and the descriptions, I have to take to the Lord and ask for His interpretation of things. And I encourage everybody else to do that too. Know that you know that you know because you got it from Him. A verse from a listener, it is the glory of God to conceal a matter. It's the honor of kings to seek it out. Yes, it is. And that pertains to women too, especially today's women. We're not the same type of woman we were back in the Lord's day. Back in the Lord's day, women stayed home and they had so much to do with raising families and kids. They didn't go out and get involved with things. Queen Esther and other women evangelists will tell you different. There were a few. But today the Lord has stood up a lot of women to stand up and testify to His truths. And that's what we're doing, and I see that all the time in the Bible codes. His maid servants are standing up, they're brave, they're being bold. And it's the women. And so I always get a kick out of that, as long as we don't have to see the term rocks. Because, the Lord said if the men failed him, He would stand up the women. If the women failed him, He would stand up the children. If the children failed him, He would stand up the rocks. And so I never want to get to that point ever. I'm going to sit here and scribble and doodle all over my paper here. That's what I tend to do when I talk.